Hello, everyone. Caruso Tomato here, broadcasting live from Tomato Adventureland. Yes. Okay, I can't do that anymore. Oh, this is my second Kent video today. If you're a member, you can watch the first one after this, of course. But it's members only till about noon tomorrow, because that's how I roll. You can see Kent, well, being Kent for the most part. But hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another random live stream. This time, we're going to have something a little different. Not completely, but something special. In this case, this is a video. Now, this is a re-upload from that nerdy Billy. This video wasn't put on the YouTube channel that's been having live streams go on it. This was just on Rumble. He had uploaded it to YouTube, so we're just going to watch it from there, because why not? Rather give him the views than give Kent a view on Rumble. This is not like it's a surprise. I mean, you see the videos, my video's title, and you see my thumbnail. Open letter to President Trump and all conservative, freedom-loving Americans. You know, implying that Americans who aren't conservative aren't quote-unquote freedom-loving, whatever that actually means. But yeah, let's get right into it now.
Good evening, folks. Kent Hovind here and the crew at Dinosaur Adventureland and Genesis Baptist Church in lovely Lenox, Alabama. It is February the 1st, 2025. Tonight, I know you skeptics and scoffers have been waiting to call in and make your stupid comments about evolution being true, but tonight I'm going to do an open letter to President.
I want to point out he lists this as February 1st, but this was streamed yesterday. Because if we actually look at Billy's upload date 19 hours ago, January 31st, so Kent can't even keep his days straight. So whatever, it's just a tiny, funny thing I noticed.
Trump and to all the conservative, freedom-loving Americans. I would ask you if you watch this and copy it, post it on every channel you can think of, and send it to anybody you know that loves the Lord that might be able to step in. We got some serious question we want to talk about tonight. Okay, we'll talk in just a minute. So here we are. We're on a bunch of channels. We're on Facebook and let's see, I don't know what they're all listed right there. Okay, Rumble, TikTok, all kinds of stuff. Go to drdino.com, our website, and you can see everything right there. We are straight north of Pensacola, 70 miles, little town of Lenox, Alabama.
Yeah, Kent, we know where the hell you are. Conservative just means Confederate and wanting to make Victorian era return again along with slavery. No, I knew what conservative meant. What I didn't know was what the whatchamacalls it. What do you call that thing? The whole freedom loving thing meant. Hey, looky, AJ's in the chat. Uh, Spoiler alert: links in Discord if you happen to want to join in, AJ. If not, that's cool too. Just trying to keep up with everything on Dish End. I got like 12 things going at once here because I'm a very busy man. Yamato, Yamato tomato. Anyway, let's continue.
Where God gets the glory for his creation. Get off I-65 at either exit and come right to us. There we are, 1 mile north of town, Dinosaur Adventureland in the old gravel pit. It's a blast, 140 acres.
Yeah, and what's funny about this is if you divide that up into 3 separate squares, the top, the lower left corner, and then the right, that's actually the way the property is divided into 3 separate sections, because I went looking at that just for a matter of seeing records, seeing who legally owns it and all that jazz. And then, of course, the property in the upper right corner is independently owned, which I have a few questions on, but it's irrelevant in the grand scheme. But it's just funny that DAL is technically 3 separate properties, but that's actually more common than you would think in a lot of places. Usually, though, they have buildings on them, but it's like a shopping mall sometimes. If one of those still exists near you, might actually be, technically speaking, 3 or 4 different addresses, 3 or 4 different properties. Fascinating stuff, but that's neither here nor there. It's just funny because, yeah, Kent, it's a damn gravel pit. You get onto us for mocking you with it about it, and then you're like, oh yeah, I live in the sand pit. And I think I just heard a blip of somebody who I might know popping in. So let me figure out the buttons to click to make things happen. How do I? Oh, right, I toggle this. And there's an atheist junior in the chat.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me?
Yeah, man. What is
Alrighty.
up?
Oh, not, not much.
Glad you made it. Yeah, we got a little surprise here that AJ has made it. Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep going. Kent loves Trump. He really does.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Just all over. This is, if nothing else about Kent provides the utmost of insane, glorious. What the hell is this man talking about? Because we've heard it all from Kent. At least the next 4 years, if Kent survives that long, will give us him begging for Donny Boy's attention time and time again.
Yeah, and did you see his little rant about the January 6th protesters or, criminal
Oh,
people?
back on his January 6th episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd saw that. That's one of the ones I had covered. Yeah, it's like, Kent, you're completely wrong on what happened that day.
Yeah, he's like Trump's going to pardon all those people.
It's like, well, as has been as our well-informed, lovely audience has reminded me that a pardon implies admission of guilt.
That
So,
is true.
that's a thing. And just for the record, if any of you out there for some reason are watching this, subscribe to me, but aren't subscribed to AJ, what are you doing? He's the one I'm ripping off. You got the original guy over here. I'm just a damn tomato. Caruso tomato. All right, let's keep going.
To us on April 21st, 2016. We have a science center, 12,000 square feet. We've given hundreds of tours. We're building a Noah's Ark, 1/3 scale model. Hey, Dad, why you build this tall thing in the hole in the bottom of the Ark? It's a moon pool, son. It's probably going to have.
Why did you build this tall thing in the hole in the bottom of the ark? Great English there, Kent.
Ark probably had
uh,
5 moon pools in it. As you go over waves,
What were you gonna say, AJ?
an ark like this with wooden floors would not be good for uh like animals that are going to pee on it and
Oh
shit on it.
God, you're right. Oh, good
It's gonna
Lord, yeah. I
it's
didn't even
gonna
think about the
cause their
practicalities.
yeah, it's gonna make their hooves rot.
Oh, and that is, there's the joke about things that are a fate worse than death, but hoofed animals and hoof rot, that is horrible.
Yeah,
Some divine plan, am I right?
yeah.
Maybe
Oh
they didn't
yeah.
have hooves till after the fall. Hold on.
Let's start this up.
it lets this pressure come up inside the boat, and long ships don't crack that way. Anyway, hey, Dad, I got the first drogue stone carved. How long should I make the rope to tie it to the boat? They found drogue stones around Noah's Ark in Turkey, big, huge 9,000-pound rocks. Apparently, they were hanging over the side of the boat during the flood, and if it gets windy, it turns you at a right angle. Here's one of the actual drogue stones over there. One atheist I was debating said, Hovind, you're stupid. If he had rocks hanging around the boat, don't you know it would slow him down? I said, yeah, where was he going? There's no, no place to go. Anyway, come.
Oh, Kent. Well, you'd want some control over the ark, but granted, the concept of an ark as a ship is something that has no control whatsoever. You would want it to have some give, and weighing it down with all those rocks like you think, and keeping it down like you want to imply, means that the tidal forces and the like would have tore that thing to shreds if they wouldn't have already done it. Think a tree in the wind, it sways. Build stuff too rigid, it snaps under stress. At least that's what I interpret from this. You got anything, AJ?
Well, I mean, the biggest wooden boats that have ever been built sank at sea. They weren't seaworthy.
Yeah,
So it's been tried, and that's with more modern technology.
yeah, yeah. The actual dimensions of the arc in and of itself would not work under, even relatively modern, pinnacle of wooden shipbuilding, let alone something, 4,000 years ago. It's madness. Just the physical structure doesn't allow for it.
Come visit Dinosaur Adventureland. It's amazing. We feed, 3,000 meals a month here. Everything for free. We do it just on donation basis, okay? There's our science center from the sky, 12,000 square foot science center, all kinds of fun activities. Please come visit. We want everybody to see this place. We're an old-fashioned, independent, temperamental, fundamental, right-wing, radical, chicken-eating Baptist church. We believe the Bible is the infallible, inspired, inerrant word of the living God. There's the floor of our church, big cross made out of cedar, and pews around, everything donated, the wood for the floor, the pews and everything else. Okay, tonight,
Starving children in Ethiopia could have eaten that wood, Kent. And instead it's a giant cross on the floor of your church. Come on, man. Please,
Yeah, that
please
you
don't
walk
be.
across.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, just walk across the, symbol of our Lord and Savior. Just get my muddy boots all over it, Hovind. I'm better than Jesus. I'm the Beatles. Hovind is the fifth Beatle. Confirmed.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
You gotta nail him to the wrist.
That's the true way to do it. Watch. I'll
Yeah.
teach you.
The paintings are wrong.
I'm going to redo what was taken down when they took down our YouTube channel and added a bunch to it this time about, are you a tax protester? This is my open letter to President Trump and all patriotic Americans who are concerned about the weaponized Justice Department going after political enemies. This is the stuff they do in.
Oh, you can't. What about the weaponized immigration department? You don't care about the weaponizing of that because it's not affecting you. So it's not about the weaponization of anything, which it's debatable in the Justice Department. I don't really care one way or the other when it comes to pieces of crap like you, because you should have had more. You should have been locked up longer, honestly. But, you commit millions of dollars in tax fraud, and that's cool, but get possession with caught with possessing a dime bag and you're locked away forever in some places. It's insane.
Is this from his new channel or whatever channel he's using now?
Oh, yeah, so this was on Rumble.
Oh,
The
okay.
trucker Billy actually put it up, mirrored it on his channel. He had posted it into my Discord. So when I woke up, I saw it and was immediately like, well, I know what I'm doing today. So this is mirrored on Billy's channel. I'll send you a link if you want to want to give it a solo go sometime, or just have it for reference. But it's on his Rumble, but for whatever reason didn't make it to the new YouTube channel. It's like maybe they turned off the uploading, like broke the link. Maybe not though. Maybe it's just a fluke. But we'll see.
No
But it
idea.
was a live stream, so that's an interesting thing. That means they had to have not had it go from restream. And Kent was made aware through his phone number leaking that he is still streaming to a YouTube channel. And in one of the streams previously, we had a bit of a conversation with the new tech guy Neil, and like made aware, like, hey, we know this is happening. We're here talking to you now. This shouldn't be happening. So maybe they talked about and decided to back away just for sanity's sake, or who knows, or it's just a fluke. I could be giving them too much credit.
Communist countries sick the law on their political opponent. It happened to me back in 2001 up through 2006 when they finally arrested me looking for something to get me on. So President Trump and all you listening to this, please listen to what happened to me.
So President Trump and all you listening on this, implying that Trump is listening to this.
I like the placement of the Unmasking Kent Hovind DVD in the foreground.
I didn't even notice. That's perfect. Is that a subliminal, slip up? Ooh.
No, it seems pretty intentional.
We're just gonna leave this right here as a clue. It's like, bruh, for a while during my gaming YouTuber phase, I used to leave little Easter eggs in the background. Like, there's a relatively rare Super Nintendo game that I own, Final Fight Guy. I had it just setting inside of of my Super Nintendo when I was filming like a video on like the original Xbox, just so you'd see it in the background and be like, hey, that's there, that exists. Or I'd leave little
Yeah.
Easter eggs to what was coming up in my next video back when I did that. It was fun. No views though. Who'd have thought
You're doing better.
laughing?
You're doing better now.
Yeah, it's like, who'd have thought laughing at this lolcow would get me views, but the gaming content, nah. And now everyone wants my gaming content, so it's like, yay! Now I just don't have the energy or the
Yeah.
space or have my equipment. But that's neither here nor there. What is here and there is me, you, AJ, and 0645 2017. Let's continue.
And I know you're concerned about this weaponizing of the Justice Department. Thank you. Thank you for all you've done so far for our country in the first, just 10 days, 12 days of being in office. Thank you. We are here to support you, okay? Matthew wrote a comment to me a couple of days ago. Hey, Mr. Hovind, thank you for your videos. People watch my videos on science and the Bible, creation seminar series, 18 hours for $50. I listened to your seminars, was taken aback by your wit and love for the Lord. I was then troubled to find out the government imprisoned you for not paying taxes. Well, let's see.
That's not quite what taken aback. That's not the way you use that phrase. Just pointing that out, dude. I should know. I had to use it for something specifically to make sure, like, yes, this is the exact phrase I want to use. I've
Yeah,
looked it
and
up, damn it.
he spelled Charlie Kirk's name wrong too.
I wouldn't even have noticed. Oh man. Oh look, it's a list of just scumbag after scumbag.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
We're going to send this in a little package to all these people: President Trump, Mrs. Trump, J.D. Vance, Alabama Representative.
Mrs. Trump's an immigrant. You know that, right? You don't like them, they're
Mhm.
immigrants, Kent. So why are you
That's
sending it to
true.
her?
Figures,
Mhm.
Rick Scott, Ashley Moody, all these people we think that love the Lord and love our Constitution and want to get us back to right. Donald Trump is very familiar with how they weaponize.
Yeah, I mean, there's already this whole thing where we're all pretty sure that Trump is technically atheist insofar as he doesn't give a flying, but portrays, being a godly Christian because it's what the right wing wants. But elongated muskrat, really? Like, you don't know him very well, Kent, do you? There is honestly nothing about him you'd like, save for the fact that he's a douchebag and he has gone completely MAGA. That's it.
Yeah, he has.
Oh, I mean, he was always a douche, but just glad everyone realizes it now. But we're not here to talk about him. We're here to talk about Kent.
The Justice Department against him. They came after him filing all kinds of stupid claims about him. Thank you for standing true, President Trump. We're here with you. Weaponizing the justice system. Ending the weaponization of the federal government. Yay, I agree. Executive order just 12 days ago. Thank you.
We're going to end the federal government just being able to do whatever it wants by me, President Trump, doing whatever the hell I want. It's
Mhm.
kind of like how we want, the Republicans want a small government by, legislating everything everyone can and can't do. That's just totally
Exactly.
how it works. We're not backwards fucking morons at all, Hovind.
Yeah.
You, President Trump. Stop the insanity. But listen, go back and undo the damage because they did this to me back in 2006 when they put me in prison for 10 years for no crime whatsoever. Okay? American people have witnessed the previous administration engage in a systematic campaign against its perceived political opponents. They perceive me as a political opponent because of my preaching on video number 5.
Oh, video number 5? The one I looked at in its entirety? That's 4 hours of my life I'm never getting back, Kent? That
Mhm.
DVD number 5. Yeah.
Yeah, the one with all the pretty much anti-authority, anti-IRS stuff that's kind of snuck in there.
Yeah. The conspiracy theories and the whole, evolution caused Columbine and all this other horrible stuff. And, it's typical
Yeah,
points, but just like condensed, super condensed. And then
it's
I kind of blacked out, honestly. I think it goes into just even more insane stuff towards the tail end.
it's his edgiest seminar part by far. It's definitely the edgiest one
Yeah. Yeah.
for sure.
If you haven't seen my DVD number 5 episode or video, it's in the live tab. You just go there and then click and you'll see, looking at DVD number 5. And then after that, go check out some of AJ's content and see where I got the inspiration from and realize AJ's a lot better than me. Uh,
Well, just more experience. That's all.
uh, hey man, that's the way this whole thing's gonna be. If
Yeah.
Kent is going to be like, no, Trump's the best. Trump's the best. I'm just gonna be like, okay, fine. AJ's the best. There, beat that. Couldn't beat him in the debate ever.
Trump's a lot richer than me.
Yeah, but that's because he got a small loan of $1 million.
True.
If you or I had a small loan of $1 million at the same age, we'd have done infinitely better than him. In today's climate, no less. I guarantee it.
Right.
But, can't change the past. So let's laugh at the future, which Hovind doesn't have. Ooh.
DVD number 5 talks about the dangers of the evolution theory. By the way, any of you on that list, the representatives, congressmen, we will send you a free set of my videotapes. We want you to be informed of what happened, okay? Let's see. They're oriented toward inflicting political pain than pursuing actual justice. Well, that's the truth. Weaponizing the Justice Department. Weaponizing, that's what they've done. Trump's AG pick Bondi questioned about potential weaponization of Justice Department. Yeah, this is what, 20 days ago, all right? Hearing
January 15th was now 20 days ago, according to Kent. According to Kent, this video from January 31st was on February 1st. So this video is technically from the future.
Okay.
What time period are you living in, Kent? I mean, I know I'm anachronistic as all fuck. Let's note the rotary phone that my hand is on right now. The typewriter over there, and another one over there, and two more stashed under the bed. But at least I know what time it is.
Sounds like Alan Wake.
Seriously. Oh, I'd rather be enjoying Alan Wake than watching Hovind, but this is the battle I chose to fight.
Before the subcommittee, this is back in 2023. This has been a long-standing argument about weaponizing the Justice Department. The University of Minnesota did one back in 2020. Okay, is the government being weaponized against you? Yeah.
Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
They can put anybody in prison they want. Hitler knew that. Stalin knew that. Pol Pot knows that. Who's the
Pol Pot? Hi guys, I'm the leader of Cambodia. I'm Pol Pot. Yep. Now, if you come over here to the fields, ignore that in the background. But if you work real hard, you might not die. Yep. Oh man, I'm sorry I had to make that joke, but now I feel terrible because Cambodia in that era. Oof. That's a dark subject that people really need to not forget.
He killed people that had glasses because he assumed they were smarter than average people.
He went right after the intellectuals. I would be out under Pol Pot's regime. Speaking another language. So I'd have to make sure I didn't slip in any of my habits of just throwing random words in there. Even if I'm not fluent in another language, just being exposed to it would be dangerous.
Yeah, so Kent would be fucked as well.
Yeah, this is true. Oh yeah, he'd be double fucked. He got glasses and his supposed other languages.
His PhDs.
He knows a little French. He has PhDs. He's a teacher. A teacher in quotes. Ugh. That's the one point he'd say, no, I'm not a teacher. No, I'm not a doctor. No, I'm not anything. Actually, man, see, that's something Dark Matter 25 should do is Pol Pot meets Kent Hovind and see if Kent doubles down or not. I just feel like that'd be an animation he could make and make good, but that's me thinking out loud. Let's continue.
Or Jim Jones meets Kent.
That's round 2.
Yeah.
Honestly, what's scary is the more you look at them, the more they both look the same.
It's true.
Really disturbing.
Kim Jong-un guy with a funny haircut. He knows that, okay? Sure.
Kent, on a serious note, those nations didn't have justice in any conventional sense, which is the point you're trying to make, but not in the way that you want to make it. Once again, those were totalitarian hellscapes, or in the case of the DPRK, are totalitarian hellscapes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a side effect of authority, of unquestioned authority, of people with absolute power, which is what you guys want from President Carrot and the current administration. So Project 2025 is all about, with a theologic bent to it. You guys are the threat. You are the danger to liberty, freedom. What is left of America in the ideal that it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
But let's let him keep going. Or did you have something to add, AJ?
No, you can play it.
All right. I just don't want to overcut you by taking my breaks and then just pushing through to where you don't get to have anything. Feel free.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew, excellent video. You were accused of not paying taxes. So are you a tax protester? Atheists and God haters have run with this tax protester claim against me for 19 years now.
And so have Christians of all variety who understand facts.
Hmm.
Generally, someone who likes you, Kent, isn't going to sit there and be like, "Oh no, he's not a tax protester. I looked at it. He's a scumgag, and I disagree with him, but he's not a tax protester." But people who they're never going to do that. But people who don't care for your message and they see this, they're unbiased on stuff. They're going to realize, yeah, you're a tax protester because you have literally said it.
Yeah, I mean, there's evidence that shows that Kent is a tax protester. His old videos,
Yeah, I mean, you
obvious.
have that video uploaded to your channel,
The straw
one
man
of the main
video.
ones. Yeah.
It's a
So,
straw man video.
the
That's the
classic
one.
Sovsit video.
That's the
Eh,
only video that you need.
yeah, and
That
that tells
proves
you
it.
everything. Yeah. But, Ken's not a sovereign citizen. He's not anything. But he is a doctor. And he is right about everything. And he'll
Yeah.
debate you with half his whale penis tied behind his back. Ah,
They cannot win a debate defending their dumb evolution religion. I've done 381 debates, and I'll take any of them on any time, okay?
speaking of the debate, bro, also all your debates suck from your perspective. Everyone else, everyone else's side, they kick ass. You're terrible. But when you argued with this guy on the other end of this little restream video with me, this AJ guy, yeah, he rocked. Especially that Victorian outfit. Fuck yeah. Glad you saw that thing I made yesterday. I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
I would put it up here, but I don't feel like toggling the selectors to just show off my little work of art. Um, yeah, Kent,
Yeah.
you've lost every argument you've ever had with anybody ever.
Yeah. I've done several debates with Kent, and he's, you know, very repetitive in his debates. He hammers the same points. He doesn't seem to listen, and like I don't even know if this debate count is really accurate because it seems like he thinks he's very close to 400 debates, but I don't know. He does just because you do it's quantity over quality. They're not actually a lot of them are not that good. His
Yeah,
performances certainly aren't very good in a lot of debates. He doesn't seem to be trying very hard.
no, not at all. And if you go back and watch his old ones, there's a little more, pep to his steps, so to speak, but
Yeah.
it's still the same week everything. And the problem is this is a pre-internet culture kind of debate scene with actual authorities and actual professionals who aren't going to rip into them in the same way that we sense as the internet community have. So they're very sterile but also clinically precise in how they tear apart his arguments. At this point, there's no reason for us to do it per se, except out of personal interest. So it's honestly better to just laugh at the lol cow that he is. Harvard.
Against me, and they're jealous of my popularity, so they look for something, anything, to make me look bad, to divert attention away from their own silly, stupid evolution religion.
No, we don't have to look very hard to find something to make you look bad, now do we?
Right.
I mean, how's your wife doing, Kent?
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
she took the dog. She took the dog.
Ken hated that dog, so
Yeah, I mean, it's better for the dog. Ken hates all dogs.
yeah.
Kent. I call him Ken now. He's Ken Hovind. I am Kenneth Hovind. Oh, yes. Oh, man, let's keep going.
They believe they're related to a strawberry, and the whole universe came from a dot. December 16th, 1773, American patriots dumped 342 chests of black tea off British boats into the Boston harbor. Thank you for what you did, guys, okay? You did the right thing. Talk about tax protesters. Our country started that way. For the record, I am not a tax protester. I never have been. I've said thousands, hundreds of times, if you owe a tax, you pay it. The question
If you owe a tax, you
Yeah.
pay it.
I'm so glad as soon as I paused, you immediately went to it because I was literally doing the hand gesture like about to say, AJ, yeah, if you pay a tax. But of course, Kent, your philosophy is that you don't owe any of those taxes. So it's a non issue.
Yeah, just because he
is, do
said
you owe
something
it?
a lot of times doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
As much as he
That's,
tries.
yeah. I mean, I know you like your magic words and your favorite book, but and like repeating them over and over like mantras. But you're not some basic pumpkin spice girl with UGG boots. You can't just manifest your reality by speaking it, buddy. That ain't how it works.
Forbes magazine did an article about me. Is Kent Hovind a tax protester? I don't forget the date on this. This would have been back in, I guess, 2005 or 6 when I went to prison. Accredited university.
Do you know when you went to prison, Kent? You don't even know? I think I'd remember. I'd
Right.
remember every second of that.
Invites tax protester, creationist, and felon Kent Hovind to speak. President Trump, this label they stuck on me has stuck now for 19 years. Would you please help peel it off? Okay? Fundamentalist, evangelist, and tax protester from Wikipedia. Okay? Kent Hovind, one of the ultimate grifters of 21st century. Kent Hovind's mugshot. Unfortunately, creation science is not a crime. Fortunately, tax evasion is. I did not evade any taxes. But this is what they do. It's ruined my reputation now for 19 years. Okay?
Cry me a river.
Yeah, it's your fault, Kent. I mean, you can't complain when you have a campaign of harassing IRS agents and ignoring their letters for years, and you act like you're not a tax protester.
Let alone the structuring. Oh, the structuring.
Yes, indeed.
Uh,
Alrighty. Gracie, I'm gonna have to jump off. I'll leave the rest of this
Sure,
video
man.
to you, but
Sure, man.
thanks
Take
for
it easy,
having me
buddy.
on.
Yep.
Alrighty.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
All right, and we are back to solo. We got a super chat, $4.99 from Deconstructing Laura. When my daughter and I went to London, we wanted to dump some tea into the Thames, but we didn't get the chance. Oh, that would have been pretty horrible. They were like, "Excuse me, what you doing here?" That was the weirdest accent ever. All right, let's keep going. This is going to be a while. I'm glad I had AJ to help with the start at least.
Kent Hovind tax evasion. We did a video series. Kent Hovind is innocent. The Innocence video series. All of you that we sent the package to, if you would like, we will send you this for free. I want you and your legal team to be able to see all that was done.
You did it. You did it. No, Brady Byram did it. The 13 hours of unwatchable garbage that it is. There's no way anyone sane can make it through that. I was going to do that as a video idea, as the next big follow-up to DVD 5. And then I watched the first 10 minutes. Well, I let it play as my brain melted. And then I kept going and I realized, oh my God, that's all this is for 12, 13 hours. No. Oh. These are people who, regardless of how pathetic they are or not as human beings, they actually have things to do. Elon Musk may be garbage on all fronts, but the man still has companies to run in whatever capacity he actually does anything. He has angry posts on X to make. He's not going to watch your crap. No one is. You're irrelevant, Kent. Get over it.
Not a lawyer, but a legal researcher, spent 18 months researching what they did to me, made this video series. He said, Kent, you didn't break a single law. The government broke 100 laws to put you in prison. We'll send it to you for free. Please just call 855 Big Dino extension 1. Say, I want that series, okay? Here we go. Kent Hovind, who is he on YouTube? Kent Hovind, a cult leader, a commune cult leader in Alabama. Tribute to Kent Hovind in the prison uniform.
Yes. That
Cult
one.
leader in Alabama.
That is the updated art to the famous "You're a Fucktard, Aren't You, Kent" song. That's the source of Logic's his little intro during the series. Sorry, that's where all the Kent Hovind deep lore goes for me. Is the hello, not hello, I'm a scientist. Is the hello, my name is Kent Hovind series that Logic did. That's how I learned about this guy. One thing I hate about this thumbnail is that the prison number isn't correct. I would have edited that over the years, but that's just me being me. Hope Living Dinosaur is doing okay. I ain't seen anything from him in a good while. And please, chat, don't tell me he passed on or something. That would break my heart today.
Tribute to Kent Hovind in the prison uniform. Stop using my tax dollars to teach evolution. What tax dollars, Kent? See, they claim I'm a tax protester, and I'm not, okay? Tax protester sues the government. Crazy lawsuit, okay? Conviction, Kent Hovind criminal case. Tax fraud. That was not what the case was about, okay? In this video, it's reported Kent Hovind has been battling the IRS for years to pay taxes because he believed something like that, okay? From John, whoever this is, a tax expert. So Matthew, thank you for your question. I think it's way past time that I give a thorough answer. Since I moved to Lenox, Alabama, April 2016, some have spread rumors that I'm a tax protester and various other bad labels they stick on me without knowing the entire truth. These same rumors prompted your question. It's sad reality of living in a small community where some people have nothing better to do than spread rumors and make themselves look good. Paul said in Acts 24.
Sounds like your own damn fault, Kent. You're the one who decided to accept a bunch of crappy land in the middle of nowhere and then live out there. You couldn't, you couldn't have kept a place in Pensacola, gotten a place, or what have you, after Eric kicked you out and apparently stole your underwear, because that's a thing that sons just do apparently. 'Cause you've made a big fuss about it. I mean, couldn't you have got a place, kept a place somewhere that's actually civilized, and then just went out to DAL on weekends to supervise? No, I didn't think so. Oh, right. That would involve, owning property and other stuff and the taxes. It's the taxes. The finger thing means the taxes.
Neither found me in the temple. I wasn't arguing with anybody. I wasn't causing any trouble. Neither can they prove the things they accuse me of. This has been a problem with Christians for 2,000 years now. When he was come, the Jews came down from Jerusalem and laid many grievous complaints against Paul, which they could not prove. I guess nothing's changed in 2,000 years. Well, he answered for himself, neither against the law, neither against the temple, nor yet against Caesar have I offended anything at all.
So Kent just compared himself to Paul, like he hasn't compared himself to every biblical character, except Satan, oddly enough. He doesn't want to be compared to Satan. But of course, if you really read the story, Satan's actually the good guy.
I will maintain my innocence. I did not break any laws. However, they did great damage to me, and President Trump, I'd like you and your team to see the simple steps to fix it, okay? Since moving to Lenox, we brought nearly $4 million of revenue into the area with all the building we've done. Brought in 32,000 visitors. We've had visitors from all 50 states and 78 foreign countries to see our little dinosaur adventure land.
Foreign countries, as if there's other countries out there that aren't foreign. Just one of those weird ways of speaking. It's like when people say tuna fish. It's like, oh, are you eating beef mammal? Come on. Just weird. The millions of dollars with the construction, I don't think so, Kent. Lenox doesn't look like the kind of place that has the resources to facilitate that much construction. So you would have gotten it from other larger communities, the resources that would have been, purchased, but most were probably donated. So you're not doing what you think you're doing there. That's just, anyone can see that. Like, no.
Seen thousands of lives changed, nearly 270 baptized. My answer to your question, Matthew, starts with this woman right here, Margaret Casey Rogers. She was the federal judge in my case in Pensacola, Florida. Okay? Margaret Casey Rogers, born in Pensacola, was in the U.S. Army for a while, got a Bachelor of Arts degree from University of West Florida. She was nominated by President George Bush to a seat in the United States District Court.
No, this is an interesting thing that much of the elements of CSE and DAL and the like, the old one in Pensacola, were not 501c. Kent wanted to file no paperwork whatsoever, is my understanding on this stuff. He avoided all of it because anything would have been more leverage for the government against his sovereign citizen rights or what have you, is my understanding. And that's part of the cause of the problems. Like, it's not obvious that it is, but I mean, had he actually filed 501(c), there's some stuff that he wouldn't have gotten pegged on, apparently. It would have been minor, but I think there were some violations that wouldn't have applied had he actually done that.
In the Northern District of Florida. Okay. Complaint Board. Wow, what do they got to say? Margaret Casey Rogers review. Let's see. Judge Margaret Casey Rogers is a bizarre individual who's completely unethical and biased in her rulings. That's the one put me in prison for 10 years for no crime at all.
Yeah, court records show that's a lie.
She should be investigated, and when found guilty, she should be confined to prison. That's what the complaints board said. This woman is a completely unfit person to be a judge. She's biased against Christians and in favor of evildoers, as her record shows. Judge Rogers is paid by tax dollars and yet is a public enemy. Weaponization of the Justice Department. She's a general in the Army, okay? Beware of Judge Margaret Casey Rogers.
No, Karibo. You only had the first 3 words were necessary. Kent hates women.
To show how deranged she is, she claimed Pastor Hovind's supposed crimes were worse than a rapist. Judge Margaret Casey Rogers.
No, your son said that the court was treating your crime as worse than that of rape. You don't even know your own case, Kent. Oh, wait, no, you do. You're just being a deceptive asshole. Also ironic that your son would be so upset with you going, although he's definitely more upset about his mom going to prison, that your son will be so upset with you to give such an emotional statement, yet after you get out, he wants nothing to do with you. Joe divorces you, the line gets crossed, and that's it. Seems pretty clear cut who Eric liked more out of his parents, which one he liked more.
Rogers sentenced Pastor to many years in prison that doesn't even constitute a crime. And she said he's worse than a rapist. But she had this removed from the transcript. We paid $6,000, I think, to get the transcript so I could appeal the case. You got to do that within 12 months. She waited 16 months to send us the transcript and had removed. We got 8 signed sworn affidavits. People were in the courtroom that heard her say, Hovind, I'm giving you 10 years. Your crime is worse than rape. Yeah.
Can you show me those affidavits, Kent? Can you show me those sworn testimonies? Can I contact those people? Can I verify myself? Will the record of them having been there match that of court records of who was in attendance? Otherwise, until you provide such information, I call bullshit.
Tampered with the transcript. That's enough to get the case overturned. Anyway, 7 U.S. citizens heard her say, I thought it was 10. I think I've heard, anyway, had it removed. In 2006, a government SWAT team raided Kent Hovind's Creation Science Ministry.
No, they didn't.
Kent and his wife, Jo, got arrested at gunpoint. Jo was dragged out of bed, not allowed to get dressed. This violent method of arresting a suspect is usually reserved for hardcore gang-related activity. It was disproportionate and totally over the top display of force. They were both thrown in prison. Jo.
That is in no way, shape, or form what records indicate actually happened. The story is told quite well in the documentary The Weakness of Kent Hovind, which I rewatched recently, actually.
Got released from jail a few years ago, but as of February 2015, Kent maintains his innocence behind bars. They came with a SWAT team to a church, a parsonage. My wife, Jo, was so terrorized by this. We were virgins on our honeymoon, married.
Completely irrelevant information, Kent. That has no reason to be brought up whatsoever. And yet you want to talk crap about the way we, all of us, talk, the things we're interested in, the things we'll say. First off, not that it matters, but I don't fucking believe you on your account. Not that I give a flying fuck. But 2, again, it's completely fucking irrelevant and is ridiculous for you to bring up. And things like that oversharing of information, are another reason why I think Kent is heavily on the spectrum and just somehow balanced his way through life. Because he's so obsessive on having to say these particular phrasings, these particular things when a trigger term is brought up. It's like if he sees this picture, he has to bring that up. It's weird. So very weird.
1973, had 3 children. When I got home from prison, she said, honey, I'm divorcing you. I'm still scared of the IRS. 42 years we were married, President Trump. They ruined a good marriage, ruined a good family. Over what? Margaret Casey Rogers. Ever wonder why Kent's in prison? She's quite an interesting character who has a reputation of issuing heavy-handed justice toward Christians. She received national attention in 2009.
Actually, Soot, that could be a case now that I think about it, because I brought up that this wasn't streamed there. Yeah, that could have actually been a thing, but you think the video itself would have been taken down, or otherwise something would have happened. But I haven't gone back and double checked if that comment's still in there, so I don't know.
She tried to send 2 Christian school teachers to prison for years. For what? For praying over their food. They were
Yeah, so my understanding is, and this is a very broad understanding of stuff, very basic thing, but when Kent finally got out of prison, Joe had been free from him for 8 years. But was still the faithful wife and stuff. But like the first thing Kent wanted to do after he got out was, that night hop in bed and yeah, no. And Joe was like, "No, you stay somewhere else. You're not doing this." She had built up the courage to reject him, rightfully so, and he apparently didn't take well to that. Understandably, no one rejects the Hovind. Hovind. So that's my understanding vaguely of what would have gone on, pretty much right after he got out, and then everything quickly went downhill. Yeah.
were teachers in a public school. She said, there are going to be no prayers or religion in my town. Washington Times had an article, lawmakers back officials facing jail for prayer. School prayer charges stir protests. Students, teachers, and local pastors are protesting over a court case involving a Northern Florida school principal and athletic director who's facing criminal charges up to 6 months in jail over their offer of a mealtime prayer. There have been yard signs, T-shirts, mass student protests during graduation ceremonies on behalf.
Yeah, it's absolutely tragic what happened to Joe Hovind. Um, and stuff I wonder is like, does she still use that last name? Did she switch back to her maiden name? What even was her maiden name? I don't know. I don't look that deep into Kent's stuff, and it's not really something that matters. But I'd almost prefer to refer to her with that name because that's who she is. We may not agree with her at all on religious stuff. If she was married to someone like Kent, then we know where her religious standing is. But she didn't deserve who knows what that happened for nearly 40 years. Especially what we do know happened. It's just, I don't know. It's wild.
Behalf of Pace High School principal Frank Lay. I talked to him today. He's going to bring his school up here, I think. Okay. And athletic director Robert Friedman. A district federal court in Pensacola for breaching the conditions of a lawsuit. The prosecution of Kent Hovind, led by Michelle Heldemeyer, the U.S. Attorney, and John David Roy Atchison, Assistant U.S. Attorney. Judge Richard Kreider committed suicide when he was caught and charged with the crime of purchasing illegal pornographic materials. The following year, Michelle Heldemeyer, now the U.S. Attorney, made national news when it was found out that her husband, Joseph Heldemeyer, was on the same pornographic mailing list as the judge. He was never prosecuted. Wonder why? Maybe because he's the husband of the U.S. Attorney. Michelle Heldemeyer is one of the two that came after me, okay? Let's see. In just a few days after Kent Hovind.
So since everyone seems to have a different interpretation on this whole subject, the entire prayer in schools things in the United States consists of this, that fundamentally, as an element of the actual educational process, prayer and such similar religious rituals cannot be conducted by school faculty. in such a way as like having students pray with you or something. One could do a personal thing, as my third grade teacher was actually very religious, and even in third grade, I understood this separation, that it was her being personal, that she didn't lead the thing. It was just her during the moment of silence that we'd have every morning. Um, and individuals can be religious, and indeed, clearly religious themed extracurricular activities that may happen on school grounds. That's where a gray area is. But when I was in high school, those would happen. The see you at the flag thing early in the morning, where some of the religious faculty and the students would have a little Christian-y meeting around the flag. It's totally not cult-like. The more I think about it, the more freaky it is. Yeah, that kind of stuff's a gray area. But that's what it boils down to, is that, a Christian teacher isn't going to sit there and just start having the whole set of students, start praying to Jesus. A Muslim teacher wouldn't be sitting there having everyone start up praying, to Mecca at the right particular times. That's the stuff it forbid. That's as far as it goes, but at the same rate, that's an all-encompassing kind of thing that's pretty straightforward, yet for some reason people can't understand it. Let's continue.
Trial, this assistant U.S. attorney, John David Roy Atchison, was caught, arrested, and jailed for attempting to rape a 5-year-old. Keep that name in mind, John David Roy Atchison. He spent 5 years investigating me to find something to put me in prison for. When he led the SWAT team in there, he said, get every DVD number 5 you can find on my video series. The dangers of evolution. This evolution theory is the foundation philosophy behind communism, socialism, Marxism, Nazism. I cover that in great detail. I suggest you watch that.
Yeah, and you're completely wrong on every single aspect of it. So piss off.
At Kent's trial, Margaret Casey Rogers, the presiding judge, said Kent Hovind's crime is worse than rape. Here's a video by world-renowned and respected Dr. Greg Dixon, Indianapolis Baptist Temple, attesting, he was there, that the entire courtroom heard the phrase worse than rape. Did the judge know the prosecutor was a rapist? To appeal the case, Kent paid $6,000 for a full court transcript. That is an unedited copy of every word spoken in the courtroom. To be valid, the appeal had to be filed within 12 months. The documents were held back for 16 months, making Kent miss the deadline for appealing his own case. 4 months after the deadline and too late to file an appeal, Kent finally received the transcript, and somebody had tampered with it, removing the judge's words, worse than rape.
Kent, how would you know? And I know you have that such a vivid memory in your head of that having been said, but what are you comparing to beyond your obviously biased and very clearly flawed recollection on if the transcript is accurate? Can you verify in every other aspect that it is fully correct? Secondly, I don't think the judge actually physically has any access to the transcript stuff. That would kind of be a contradiction of the entire transcript, conflict of interest for the entire transcript process. So the claim of them tampering with it beyond, again, an accusation of corruption is completely insane. But additionally, as I forget exactly who, but someone in my lovely chat brought up that Eric himself even said, yeah, he's the one who made the comparison. It wasn't the judge saying it. And it was done for a different reason. Eric was trying to defend the harshness, trying to defend you from the harsher sentence by trying to compare it to something considered more vile, but somehow gets a lesser sentence. You can't even take what win you got out of that, can you? No, everything's got to be twisted in your world. But you're not a narcissist. And remember, this is something for your church message. Or have you finally given up the idea of what you do actually being anything church related, and now this is just the Kent Hovind show since you lost your YouTube channel again?
Yeah, I wonder why. 8 attendees of the court, I thought it was 8, have signed an affidavit stating they all heard Judge Rogers declare Kent's crime to be worse than rape. Whoever tampered with the court transcripts is not known, but that fact alone, that it was tampered with, is enough to overturn the case. And what hideous, monstrous crime deserves the title worse than rape? Structuring? Not murder. Not genocide. No, structuring. That's withdrawing any amount of your own money from your own bank account. I'm not making this up. If you withdraw money from your bank more than twice in the last 10,000 years, then you're guilty of structuring. He served 8 years in prison for...
You're literally making all of that up, as has been explained ad nauseum to you, Kent. Your structuring charge was based on a consistent pattern of bi-weekly withdrawals, just under the minimum reporting limit of 10,000. This structuring of withdrawals to avoid having to pay taxes on those kinds of withdrawals, something that happens in particular tax brackets and is its own nuance, it's neither here nor there. You did that intentionally to avoid having to pay those taxes. It's when the pattern adds up. If you're pulling out 2 and 3, every once in a while, it wouldn't matter. If you pulled out, maybe 9,000 a month at odd patterns, and just random amounts, it wouldn't have mattered. But the fact it was around 9,500, like clockwork, establishes a pattern and shows that likely a violation could have happened. And when compounded with the other evidence after DAL was looked at of things like a time clock, of you running, you claim people are volunteers and stuff, or that they're not employees, but running a time clock, running, scheduled stuff, everything looking like a business, looking like, regular work, and having that kind of withdrawal schedule, 2 and 2 adds up to 4. So even if that wasn't what you were doing, and it was a pure coincidence, which it's not, because who needs $9,500 like clockwork every 2 weeks? Really didn't look good, Kent. You obviously didn't have any defense for it. So this is your defense, is to just lie about what the hell it is. It's amazing. But again, context means nothing to you. Nuance means nothing to you. Facts and reality mean nothing to you.
For a nonsense made-up crime. Turned out to be 9 years, okay? To recap, Assistant U.S. Attorney prosecuted Kent was a rapist. The judge
And yes, he did say last 10,000 years.
allegedly said Kent Hovind was worse than a rapist. The prosecutor then was found guilty of rape, and the judge's statements about rape got removed from the court transcript. And they finally arrived too late for appeal. That's only
Birius Slack, you must be new to Hovind. All he does is repeat himself. You just watched the video I uploaded today. Goes up public to people tomorrow around noonish. And he loops himself several times. He does it regularly, but sometimes it's more obvious than normal. He is terrible about that, which he's always been, which once again shows he was obviously no kind of teacher.
half of it. 2 juries were dismissed until the guilty verdict was made. First 2 juries refused to convict me. She called a 3rd jury. Kent's been moved around from prison 23 times in 8 years. But that was when they wrote this. Turned out they moved me 32 times. Called diesel therapy. Some say they're trying to get him killed, because you're more likely, the more you move a prisoner around, the more likely they are to share a cell with a violent inmate. Allegedly.
Yes, a conspiracy to just take Kent out. Kent, if someone wanted you to just disappear, they would just have you disappear. This is, again, the beautiful insanity of the conspiracy theorist, where somehow these evil governments and evil organizations have infinite power and can do basically anything, yet simultaneously are so incompetent that they don't actually act on the most obvious action to take with regards to whatever they see as the biggest threat. Everything's always got to be this convoluted Rube Goldberg process. When governments actually wanted somebody to disappear, it just kind of happens. Kind of like in your James Bond films and the like, things just kind of happen. But, no, they're completely incompetent when it comes to Ken Hovind. This is ridiculous. The man's writing his own fan fiction.
IRS agent Scott Schneider.
Fan fiction on himself, I should say.
Seized $42,000 from the Creation Ministry safe. That is true. And then created a tax bill for the exact amount of money seized. He forced my wife to open the safe, took all the cash out, counted it out, and made out a tax bill for the exact amount to the penny, and seized the money. Said, you owe this as taxes. Scott Schneider, didn't you? Judge Rogers has a track record for handing out unjust, outrageous rulings against Bible believers. She issued a contempt order against 2 school teachers for praying before eating their food. Washington Times reported that 60 congressmen stepped in to show support for the teachers who were facing jail time.
I call bullshit on that story.
that the judge was completely out of line, ruling the First Amendment Constitution rights. Should have been dismissed.
That right there. He did his little chuckle. I noticed that today in the video. In the video I did earlier today, and I've been paying attention to it. And that chuckle seems to be a tell when he knows he's just saying complete bullshit, and it amuses him that he thinks he's getting away with it. Because every time he does that little laugh, it's when he's saying some kind of stupid shit. Or when he's doing his stupid little right-wing chicken-eating Baptist blah 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 thing at the beginning of some of his videos. But that little tell right there.
That the judge was completely out of line, ruling the First Amendment Constitution rights. Should have been dismissed as a judge at that point, but the case got settled out of court. And the judge is still in office, and I think up for promotion. The same judge who allegedly misdirected the jury on the first trial and seems to have delayed the paperwork to stop the appeal may have tampered with the court transcripts. As now she's now been selected to be the new judge in the upcoming trial.
Oh, because they're not Americans, so they can't be sovereign citizens of the state of Florida or Alabama or wherever. They're like from backwards land. Austria, yeah, that's the place. And Newsland, yeah, they're from there. So they can't do anything about them. It'd be an international incident. But Hovind, they can do a lot with Hovind. Obviously, if you can't tell, I'm being facetious, but I mean, that is actually a commonality with Ken Ham and Ray Comfort that is not shared with Hovind, is that they're from Australia/New Zealand. Sorry, I get the locations mixed up sometimes. I really shouldn't. I think they're both from New Zealand. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know you will, because you guys are awesome about that.
Yeah, we wanted to go back to court again. Guess who the judge is going to be? Her again, okay? The writ of coram nobis in Latin at the court at the time of judgment. We could file a writ of coram nobis. It costs about $6,000 or $7,000, which we don't have the money and not going to do, okay? To overturn the case.
Oh, you have the money. You just know what the outcome would be. I'm surprised you didn't just say, what's the point? There's a conspiracy against me. It's funny that you think at that point that would actually be of value, yet you think the entire thing is rigged anyway. Maybe it's just a ploy for people to donate more money to you? Get a quick 6K? Oh no, Kent. Sounds like it to me.
I devote my time to preaching and teaching God's word and giving tours of our amazing Dinosaur Adventureland. But some of you folks in Congress that are getting this package, would you please?
Dinosaur Adventureland sucks, Kent. Don't know what else to tell you. Dinosaur Adventureland fucking sucks. I have seen nothing there that even remotely impressed me. Indeed, it's honestly quite depressing.
Please, take this bull by the horns and fix it. I don't know how to do it. Okay, I'm not a lawyer. A coordinated effort between police.
Thank you, Marty. I knew it was a mix. Ken Ham is an Aussie and Ray Comfort is a Kiwi. Shout out to the awesome nations of Australia and New Zealand. Y'all are some places I want to go. Seriously want to go. And what else? Oh, yes. Come on, restream. Get the chats up here quicker. Could deport and ban them from the USA. Yeah, that's about the most they could do.
Force who authorized the SWAT team, IRS agents who invented tax bills. The prosecutor was a convicted felon, judge with a track record of issuing.
Taxes existed before the United States. Taxes have existed pretty much as long as we've had civilization. They're kind of an offshoot of the natural bartering system that we developed as we realized that we could share resources to get other resources or possibly favors, benefits of skills, etc., with others of us who had different capabilities or different resources. Taxes kind of became a process of what happened as civilizations built up, and we realized, hey, if we start pooling resources, there we go. And then if we wanted to control the pooling of resources, well, let's figure out an equal value that everyone could give. In theory, or an equal proportion, something to that effect is how the system got going. It existed well before the US, well before any nation that exists today, well before any remotely recent cultural origins of anything we have today. It's as old as civilization, quite literally. So the IRS didn't invent taxes, bro.
Issuing heavy-handed anti-Christian rules.
And if the IRS invented taxes, then all of my wonderful international audience, they would be paying no taxes whatsoever, and all their countries would just run off magical, you know, Franco-American coins or something. I don't know shit. I'm pretty sure my friends in Sweden are paying some stuff. My friends in New Zealand and Australia, in the rest of mainland Europe, in Canada, in Mexico, and anywhere.
ruling requires Congress to investigate. Because unsound, unsafe, rough justice will continue to infect the system unless people are made aware. While in prison, Kent highlighted the fact that judges are allowed to invest in
Well, no taxation without representation, Hovind.
the prison industrial complex. President Trump, I wrote a book on this called The Kennel. I did it under a false name because I didn't want to get in trouble writing about how judges, congressmen, lawyers.
As if they didn't know you were writing it, as if the material were they secreted out in some clandestine operation. What the fuck, Kent?
Are allowed to own stock in the prison system. So the longer they lock people up, the more money they make on their secondary investment. President Trump, please issue an executive order that nobody involved in law enforcement or making laws is allowed to also own stock in the prison system, prison industries.
Well, now this I almost kind of can go for. I mean, corruption and insider and self-benefiting, conflicts of interest like that are definitely a no-go. But I think it needs to extend a little further than just the prison system, Kent. A lot further. Actually, what's funny is you and me, Kent, might agree on a lot of prohibitions against particular kinds of ownership and different conflicts of interest, but for very different reasons. And we'd very quickly hit a wall where I'd keep on going and you'd be like, no, that's not cool. But, we'll save that just in case it comes up again.
Supplies the clothing, the food, the transportation. They own stock in that stuff. Stop that. That ought to be criminal. Please do something about it, okay? While the prisons are full, companies that run those prisons will be in profit, and an invested judge will take a dividend on that profit. It's a conflict of interest for the judge to profit from handing out longer sentences. They ought to be banned from investing in prison-related stock. Internet petition with 19,000 signatures to free Kent Hovind was removed from the internet. We know who has the petition, but he won't release it. We tracked it down. We'll update on the website.
And the petition means precisely fuck all, Kent. It means as much as your debates do. Nothing.
Soon. A link to the found here. Number one mind-blowing thing that happened to Kent is that he now faces another 100 years in prison. For February 9th, 2025, the trial could be moved to March. What crime did he commit? He mailed a Liz Penson to the title of the property.
Oh shit! I thought he was about to bring up his like he had switched gears and was about to bring up the stuff with his third wife, but no, February 9th of 2015. He said 2025, so that threw me off.
Litigation still pending. Don't sell that property. They seized the church property and were going to sell it. I simply filed a Liz Pendens. Wait a minute, this case ain't over yet. They threatened me with 100 more years in prison for sending a letter to the court. That's the justice system being weaponized, okay?
Yeah, judges having ownership and stuff. I mean, it's. Don't think it's as much of a thing as Kent wants to make it out to be. I'll just say that. But the prison system in and of itself and the for-profit nature of it in America is absolutely nightmarish. That needs to be completely fucking changed ASAP.
The government appears to be selling off all his assets and the property is still in dispute. Liz Pendens informs any buyers there's a legal dispute over the issues. Once again, they made up a ridiculous crime of mail fraud to unjustly have him jailed for the rest of his life.
Very good question, Sanjay. As soon as we know for sure, we're all going to be on top of it. If someone out there doesn't already know exactly, because we know the motion to dismiss got denied, or whichever exact verbiage is used for the petition he had made. So Kent still eventually, once the system gets itself in gear, is going to need to serve a sentence, as short as it may be.
The anti-Christian and biased Judge Margaret Rogers, who said creation evangelist Hovind's crime was worse than rape, is on notice. Detractors have called Kent Hovind a liar and claims Judge Rogers purposely altered court transcripts to hide her anti-Christian bias. 8 people signed an affidavit saying they were in the court, they heard her say that, okay? We have proof Her claim worse than rape is true, and her rape accusation is not in the transcript. She should be.
Nor should housing, standard food, the standard staple foods that keep us all going. Transportation, too. None of that should be for profit. Depending on the stuff, options, sure. Let me get some fancy food. Okay. I want a really nice car. Sure. I want to live in a really spiffy house. Sure. But standards should be applied and the stuff shouldn't be for profit.
Impeached immediately. Ken Hovind should be a free man with a clean record. I'm a felon now. For nothing. Can't have a gun. Yeah. IRS, DOJ, and
And here's where Kent admits that he can't have a gun. Yet, I'm certain he's probably got plenty on his property that are his. Also, Kent, legally speaking, you cannot own or be in possession of a firearm. You can own a gun if gun is used as a generic term, not for firearm, which uses modernized smokeless powders, but antique or otherwise antiquated weaponry like muzzle loaders. A paintball marker qualifies as a gun under some parlances. You got to be very particular with your language because, again, there's nuance here. And working in the place I do, this is stuff that I have to know. So, no, you can't possess a firearm, Kent, but you are fully legally able, as is my understanding, to own a black powder-based muzzle-loading gun. That would allow you to still go hunting should you choose. It's an interesting little way of doing stuff because you're unlikely to, commit a major crime with a muzzle loader. If you are, you're a complete fucking badass. But you are not a badass, Kent.
public school system do not have a problem hiring mentally unstable sexual deviants who thirst for lust. Check out the story behind sexual deviants and pedophiles who imprison Ken Hovind. It seems that nepotist bureaucrats enjoy appointing judges to positions.
Companies should be banned from owning more than 3, if even. Businesses involved in real estate and property like that and rental, right out. I mean, I personally am of the North Korean philosophy of ban all landlords. Just full stop. But that gets into its own bit of stuff that I don't have the time and energy to get into here. But, I mean, yeah, the entire housing thing needs to just be completely ripped apart from the ground up and reset.
Of power who can't distinguish the line between justice, rape, and law. Judge Rogers hands out 30 days to rapists and 10 years to preachers. All I do is teach people.
I mean, let's make the sentences equal then. Yeah, just saying. I mean, I don't want to get into it. Sorry, I depressed myself a bit. That's territory that I just don't feel like going down. But it suffices to say that, as I said, we do punish some crimes lesser than others when they should be the other way around. But at the same rate, the crime of being Kent Hovind, that deserves a severe punishment. Hovind's going down. Hovind.
People, you're not an animal. You're made in the image of God. That's why our public school system's falling apart. And by the way, all of you getting this letter, we've got video series. My video lies in the textbooks. There are 30 lies they're teaching our kids in every textbook to support the evolution theory. That should be taken out.
Ursina, no. Soot Kettle came up with an idea just a moment ago that potentially he got a community guideline strike from us reporting the video where he had said that rather unspeakable statement with regards to somebody's comment on a video. Alternately, his tech people would have broken the link between Restream and YouTube for that channel, possibly at Kent's request or possibly just as a matter of course. Who knows? I'm not sure.
I'm not trying to get evolution out of the schools. I'm not trying to get creation out. You're in.
And yeah, that's all we've heard so far is just whataboutisms. That's all Kent has.
Just don't teach lies. If you remove all the lies, part 4 there's nothing left to support the dumb religion of evolution. Kent Hovind got 101 months to life in jail for something for that is not even a crime. Average sentencing length for Kent Hovind got 101 months to life. Okay? Rape gets 96 months. Robbery, 83 months. Aggravated assault, 54 months. Burglary, 53 months. They gave me 101 months. Breaking.
Citation needed, Hovind.
IRS finally admits and will enforce policing churches and imprisoning what they deem as political dissidents. That's what they thought I was, a political dissident. Pamela C. Marsh and Tiffany Eggers silenced the jury and the evidence. New prosecutor protected violent felon who was employed by the ATF, now prosecuting USA versus Kent Hovind case. Here's the timeline, and you can read all that for yourself.
You know, you really gotta fuck up to have the entire country against you. That's just a case title that just amazes me. USA versus whomever. It's like, damn, the country itself is going after you. That's gotta suck.
She called me the head of a criminal organization, a Baptist church, creation ministry in Pensacola. I traveled all over the world, went to 37 countries, preached 900 times a year on science and the Bible. Structuring, here's what they said. 58 count charges in my thing. I forget, 50 or 4 of them or something were for structuring, also known as smurfing. That's where you break up a large financial transaction into smaller transactions to avoid scrutiny by regulators and law enforcement. See, the smaller transactions in an amount below the statutory limit that normally does not require financial institution. Congress passed a law that said if you take out more than 10,000, the bank has to fill out a form. I don't care what forms they fill out, okay? So then the drug dealers would go take.
Yes, a form has to be filled out, which gets processed into the IRS as part of your tax records when the entire yearly tax process is done. And you don't want to have to pay those taxes. You don't have to show record of those transactions because that would give a clue as to how much money you actually have. And that's the thing about you right-wingers. But between your obsession over flat tax rates that benefit the wealthy, you also love to hide money everywhere you can. Because paying your fair share is just such a hard thing to do.
Take out 9,500 in the morning and 9,500 in the afternoon. So Congress passed another law that said if you take out more than 10,000 in one day, but you break it up into 2 transactions, you have structured your transactions to evade the reporting requirement. We never did that either. These were drug laws. I've never taken any drugs in my life. Never tasted alcohol. I'm 72 years old.
Never tasted alcohol. Kent, it's irrelevant what the origins of the laws are. What matters is the laws. Period. Not that that's anything you'd understand. Yet you simultaneously obsess over God's law all the time, which is self-contradictory, and, we're not even going to get started in it. But, the only laws you have respect for are those, because they allow you to be a complete douchebag.
Federal structuring laws are smurfing ridiculous. Bank Secrecy Act requires banks to report any deposits, withdrawals, or transfers over 10,000. Our trustees of our ministry at the time said, Kent, we don't want to raise any problems with anybody. Don't ever take out more than 10,000. 2 times we had to, and the bank filled out their form. We had a lot of college students working for us. My wife would go withdraw 9,500 once every 2 weeks.
Kent, you wanna stop admitting to the crime, because that's what you're doing here.
Not 2 in one day. 1 withdrawal, our own church money to pay our own church bills once. 2 weeks later, do it again. What do we mean by structuring? A person deliberately splits a large financial transaction into smaller amounts. We never did that. It was 1 withdrawal. We never had a large transaction to split up. We were withdrawing lawfully earned ministry funds once every 2 weeks to pay legitimate ministry expenses. There was no structuring. Jury saw that twice and refused to indict. They refused to convict. I've had to call a 3rd jury. I've had several lawyers and paralegals examine my case to see if I broke any laws. If I did, I would quickly admit it. My charges fall into 3 categories. Here's the sum.
Apply cold water to the burnt Hovind. Our friend Zoso caught a nice one. Smurf is a noun, Kent, not an adjective. Nice turnabout is fair play. Ah, he just said college students working for him. Wasn't that one of the crimes, not paying payroll taxes? Yes, it was, Rosina. Rosina. God, I always flub up pronouncing the name. I have a nasty habit because I've done so many accents and stuff of actually over accenting things when I shouldn't. And sometimes, I just don't quite speak right.
Summary of what they found against me. First 12 counts: failing to withhold taxes from workers, and also withholding from the workers and failing to pay it over. Which is it? Why didn't I think my lawyer was on the take in this too, okay?
Because that's the broad legalese of the law. That conducting either of those two actions, note the A and B in there, constitutes the legal violation.
Alan Ritchie out in Washington, okay? They accused both. They accused me of failing to withhold and withholding and failed to pay. Those 12 counts should have been thrown out just on that. It's stupid.
Yes, says you, Kent.
If you did not apply to the IRS for their permission to be withholding agent, you had no authority to do so. I was a pastor of a church. I wasn't authorized to do that for the IRS. Furthermore, withholding is mandatory only on foreigners per 26 USC 1441, etc. I didn't have any foreigners working there. The first 12 counts. That's what I
Withholding is mandatory only for what? Kent, do you understand what a damn I-9 is? Why it's used? What it's for? Do you understand anything at all?
went to prison for, okay? Next 45 counts were so-called structuring, which, per the unoverturned rulings of the federal appeals cases in Renus, Aslown, whatever, there is no such thing as structuring, because the so-called mandatory reporting form was never properly promulgated by the IRS in the early 70s. To the congressional act called the Paperwork Reduction Act. There wasn't even a law to break on structuring. So how could I break it 45 times? There's no criminal liability attached to withdrawing or depositing less than $10,000 in any transaction. Banks today believe it's mandatory, when in fact it's voluntary. It's mass delusion, still going on today.
Ah, yes, it's a delusion. It's a conspiracy. It's always a delusion and conspiracy with you, Kent.
There's only one count: interfering with an officer. That was my 58th count. According to the regulations of the statute they charged me with, Kent was falsely accused of interfering with a tobacco inspection officer who appeared at his tobacco manufacturing plant, tobacco warehouse, tobacco shipping company, or tobacco retailer store, and somehow blocked their way or refused to show them his tobacco inventory logs. Mr. President, I smoked 2 cigarettes when I was 12 years old. I haven't touched one since. We're not involved in any tobacco production or selling or anything else. Used a tobacco law to put me in prison. Would you please?
Yes, because anyone with any sense understands interfering with an officer to only apply when tobacco is afoot. Kent, I always rip into you for your lack of understanding about nuance. There's a reason the laws are written the way they are. It is once again nuance. Legalese is a very weird dialect of English, in that it tends to be excessively specific in the weirdest of ways because it needs to be. Now, something funny about legalese is, while I am in no way, shape, or form an expert, I have noticed a tendency for me to be able to translate legalese pretty well, to understand it as I read it. And even more so, an ability to write in a style similar to it with my bombastic self. It's provided oddly beneficial at various times in my contracted employment work through the years. But it's written in a very particular way so that one does not have to interpret things. Even though there's still going to be interpretation of the law, legalese is written in such a way to try to mitigate that and be explicit as it can be. And what I'm pretty sure you're doing here is pulling a particular explicit condition on how this could be applied, where that may not apply in other cases, but needs to be specified here. And you're saying that's what happened. That's what they got you on, and that's all that interfering with an officer applies. All that it applies to, which is not the case.
Investigate this case and overturn it. Fix it. Structuring and smurfing examples. Let's say someone has 90,000 in cash. They want to avoid reporting requirements, so they split it up into 10 transactions of 9,000. Okay. They say that's illegal. Well, the law was never promulgated. It was never.
Yeah, Donald Trump will never see this. Donald Trump neither knows nor cares who Kent Hovind is. And if it doesn't benefit him, which getting Kent Hovind's case overturned in no way, shape, or form would benefit Trump or anything. It wouldn't even benefit Project 2025 because Kent's that irrelevant. He's not going to care because the man is only obsessed with himself, only cares about himself. And you think Kent would understand that, one narcissist to another, but no, because the problem is narcissists also can't recognize other narcissists.
Really put into, it's not really law, okay? Our ministry legal counsel advised us to keep withdrawals under 10,000 to not make them think we're doing anything illegal. I've never taken drugs or tasted alcohol. We had dozens of college students helping us when they're off hours, and we paid them cash, and they did their own reporting and filed their own taxes. There never was a crime. John David Roy Atchison, the U.S. attorney that came after me, in Florida's Northern District, was arrested September 16th, 2007. This after they put me in prison. At the Detroit Met.
Yeah, here's a nice comment from Phantom. The thing about legalese is that it's just as much about the words you use as well as knowing what potential situations need to be addressed, especially ones that aren't obvious. That's why in a lot of cases you'll see, simple yet oddly archaic sounding things such as the word shall being used regularly, since shall implies an imperativeness, a command that it must occur, whereas will implies it can occur. It's a funny thing that a teacher had taught me, I forget exactly what year. I think it was maybe in late middle school or very early high school. I feel like it was middle school, but she expressed that difference, was very particular about it. And that stuck with me. And it's something I've noticed as I, go through the years is like, oh yeah, you see certain legalese, see certain, very proper things. The word shall is used because it has the stronger meaning. It has the commanding imperative tone to it.
Metropolitan Airport in an internet sex sting organized by the Macomb County Sheriff's Office. He had flown to Michigan with the intent of having sex with a 5-year-old girl. Atchison was also a volunteer coach for girls.
Yep, Atchison's a scumbag. He barely had anything to actually do with your case. Doesn't fucking matter. Fuck that guy. Fuck you too. Move on.
Softball and basketball teams in Gulf Breeze, Florida, next to Pensacola. John David Roy Atchison.
Oh my God, no one cares where Gulf Breeze, Florida is in relation to fucking Pensacola. Pensacola is not the universe, you dumb fuck.
Assistant U.S. Attorney, gained notoriety. He was arrested for suspicion of soliciting sex from a 5-year-old. Born in 54, I was born in 53. Got a bachelor's degree at University.
No one cares.
University of Florida. Let's see. Since the 80s, he's working at the U.S. Attorney's Office in Pensacola, working on tax and financial crime cases. Married and had 3 children. See, they chose the person, and then they started looking for the crime.
I love how he talks crap about Wikipedia, but he just copied the entire thing from Wikipedia, including the citations as plain text, like the citation links. What do you even call those? Because I can only think about them in a web context. Just the citation that would lead down to a footnote. That's it. Citation indicator. It leaves it in there, and then the citation needed. It's like, come on, Kent. That's your entire life story. Citation needed.
This is backwards to the way the law is supposed to work. They wanted to find something. He spent 5 years trying to find something against me, and he settled on those 3 stupid charges. In 2007, he was arrested at the airport. Let's see. Enticement of a minor to engage in sexual activity using the internet. These are the charges he was charged with. In his possession when he got off the airplane was a jar of petroleum jelly, a doll, and a pair of earrings. He tried to kill himself hanging in jail.
Yes, he should have been on To Catch a Predator. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I don't fucking care. He's been rotting in the ground for nearly 2 decades. Get the fuck over it, Kent.
Cell, September. He was removed, but later he did kill himself in jail. You can Google it. John David Roy Atchison. What was that? October 5th, 15 days later, he hung himself in his own prison cell. Town is shaken after prosecutors arrest in child sting. Children practice football this week at Shoreline Park in Gulf Breeze, Florida, where John David Roy Atchison coached girls softball. The guy was a pervert.
Yes, okay, we fucking get it. It doesn't matter. He pushed paper. He wasn't the dude in charge of throwing you in jail. And even if he was, it would be irrelevant to these crimes. If he was following the law, which he would have been, were he in the position you want to treat it like he is in, you were still guilty of the crimes you were convicted of, Kent. It's irrelevant. Is this an attempt to claim mistrial because, hey, person involved was a scumbag, even though I wasn't really involved at all except for pushing a few papers? Oh well, Kent.
Atchison bought a Dora the Explorer doll, hoop earrings, and petroleum jelly with him from Florida, said the report. According to the records, Atchison initiated an online chat with an undercover edge officer posing as a mother, interested in having her daughter offering her daughter for sex. In several conversations, he said he wanted to have oral, vaginal, and anal sex with the woman's fictitious.
Jesus fucking Christ, Kent. You want to talk shit about us? And you know, Kent defenders will be like, he's just reading what it says, and it's like, yeah, but he still makes a choice to read these things. He still makes a choice to actually make this a focus of his stupid little presentations. He doesn't have to go this far to paint this guy as a scumbag. We all get it. But he's choosing to. That tells you a lot about his psychology, his psyche. Because he always goes here. But then wants to insult others for making a butt joke.
Daughter. He said, I'm always gentle and loving, not to worry, no damage ever, no rough stuff. At one point, he said, according to the affidavit, I've done it plenty, he said. And he comes after me for nothing. So, Matthew, to answer your question, I'm not a tax protester.
Yes, you are.
I've been pretty bold preacher of my gospel in 50 years, and my DVD number 5 of my series exposes the truth about the corrupt activity in our government, and that's the DVD the SWAT team was instructed to seize. I did not.
Yes, because seizing random DVDs totally, just magically makes the existing copies disappear and stuff. It's hilarious. And also, again, funny is that I was able to procure DVD number 5. I was able to watch it on my channel without issue. It didn't magically get taken down by the government for spreading, the stuff they don't want you to know, even if I'm ripping into it. You would think an all-powerful, corrupt government would just be able to make it disappear. But for some reason, they never can. Kind of like all the other things you seem to act like they're magically able to do, yet simultaneously they don't. Because they would just shut you down on every platform you ever show up at. You wouldn't have gotten DAL. You wouldn't be able to stream. You would always have problems if they, in quotes, didn't want you to be doing what you do. So funny, Kent. The simultaneous, overbearing omnipresence of the mysterious them, the they, yet they're completely incompetent. It's kind of like your God, only in reverse.
Not break any structuring laws.
Actually, no, wait, it's identical to your stupid God.
The pedophile U.S. attorney spent 5 years trying to find something to imprison me. Agent Scott Schneider, who works for the private company IRS, and thank you, Mr. Trump, for considering shutting them down. It's not part of the government. It's a private company. Shut them down. They're corrupt. Agent Scott Schneider forced my wife to open the safe, found $42,000 some dollars of legitimate ministry money.
Note this phrasing. He's always like, legitimate ministry money. Irrelevant, Kent. Y'all insane.
And he made up a tax bill for the exact amount to the penny and seized the cash. Then he got the judge to grant permission to seize all the ministry properties in Pensacola. 29 Cummings Road, 100 Cummings Road, 5800 North Palafox. We were buying up properties around us to build the Dinosaur Adventureland. They seized all that. So somebody gave us 140 acres here in Lenox, and we moved up here. And then he sold this property back to my son for $450,000. My son
Government wants his money, Kent.
used my mailing list. Hey, raise money, help Dad get the property back. And they did. All my supporters got the money back. So the IRS sees nearly $500,000, plus destroyed my wife and destroyed our family and destroyed my reputation.
Oh, here come the crocodile tears. Something you'll notice is whenever Kent goes into this little crying spell is that he doesn't change gears. He just keeps on going with stuff. There's no moment of pause. There's no moment of reflection. There's no moment of it hitting him that naturally happens because of the shift in hormone and endorphin releases, um, the chemical signalers in the brain and through the adrenal system and the like that cause these actions. It isn't just something that just happens. There's a set of biological processes that go. He would have had to have started getting upset, had to reflect on it for a moment as the particular chemical triggers would have done their thing, and then started getting upset. But he just immediately goes into this fake ass crying. And you compare what he does to me when I get an emotional moment in a video where I stop, and y'all know when it happens. Y'all can hear it in my. You've been around here long enough. You heard it in my voice. You know when it happens. You know when something strikes me. And you hear that change in my voice, and you hear me slow down as I think more carefully on what I'm talking about. Just thinking about it now is making me do it. Kent doesn't have that change. He doesn't have that tell, which is indicative of this being completely faked. Again, not that we didn't already know that, but it's just worth pointing out for the record. For the record, Kent Hovind is a piece of shit.
From prison, I tried to sue Agent Snyder for his violations of law, but the weaponized Justice Department protected him. They dropped the case. Figured out some just shut the whole thing down, President Trump, please. I had a judge that hates Christians who dismissed 2 juries who would not convict me and convened a 3rd jury who finally did. I was given a ridiculous 10-year sentence for no crime at all, and I served it all. One guy did a documentary about me, unmasking Kent Hovind. You ought to get that. And by the way, any of you that I'm sending this letter to, we will send it to you if you want. If you're going to sit it on your shelf, I don't want to waste it costs us money to produce it. If you're going to watch it, it'll help you see all the laws and know what exactly to go after. Kent Hovind is Innocent series. Matthew, I've maintained my innocence for 19 years now, and I will continue till I die. Then God will expose the case. Lots of the Bible was written from prison by innocent men convicted by corrupt politicians. That's why I'm appealing to you, President Trump. All you congressmen that are getting this, please, I can't do anything. Would you just fix it? You got the
Oh, this is so fucking pathetic. Oh man, we're gonna have fun with this. All right, everyone, just breathe. Get ready. The fun's about to begin.
please, I can't do anything. Would you just fix it? You've got the power to right this wrong. You should investigate it and fix it. History is full of stories like mine. Innocent people suffer, usually over greed by those in power.
Ooh, I thought he was going to go full on, but notice again, he just immediately shifts back to normal. There's nothing, it is completely fake. Just, you're so pathetic, Kent. You are so pathetic.
Positions of power. Lots of Bible was written from prison. Innocent men convicted by corrupt politicians. Full of stories. As far as I know, my heart's right with God. I'm busy trying to please him and spread his word worldwide. You are welcome to join me or get out of the way. The Jews saw the multitudes listening to Paul preach, and they got jealous, got envious. Oh, wish we had a crowd following us. So they raised persecution against Paul and Barnabas. And they kicked him out of their town. They brought him to the judgment seat. So you can read the book of Acts. It happens all the time through the Bible. Innocent people being persecuted, prosecuted, even killed for.
Yeah, I don't care. Just like I don't care what the fuck happened in Harry Potter. I don't care what's going on in Spider-Man. I don't care what's going on in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I don't give a fuck about any of that because it's all fiction. Whoopity fucking do. Don't care. Now, I do care about the struggles that Cormyr went through as she absorbed Abaddon's power during Nightfall in Guild Wars. I care about the risen threat to the Maguma jungles after the arrival of Zythan, the rising of Or, the history of Or. Fascinating culture, fascinating landmass. Um, you know, Kralkatorrik, his final resting place at the in the islands from the mists that he brought back as he tore through the mists, devouring everything and gaining more power in an attempt to take over Tyria and effectively the entire universe. You know, care about that because that shit's cool. I don't give a fuck about your stupid people 2,000 years ago getting thrown in prison and writing stories and being like, yeah, this guy, my hero died and I got thrown in prison because I like him. And yeah, I don't care, Kent. It doesn't mean shit to me. I'm going to call it out for what it is. Bullshit. Some of the worst fucking storytelling ever. Yet people take it seriously. I'll take Guild Wars any day. Thank you. That's the fiction I need. The fantasy I need. And it's more real. I've seen Cormyr. I've held Cormyr. It's the name of one of my cats. Cormyr. She's little. She's the smaller of the two twins. She's little. She's adorable. She loves me. She's real. Everything in your magic book of bullshit? Meh. Sorry, just had to work a Guild Wars reference in there. And just kind of roll with it. Let's continue.
For what? Nothing. Out of jealousy. Acts 25. Paul answered for himself, neither against the law of the Jews, neither against the temple, nor yet against Caesar have I offended anything at all. Go, Paul. Neither did Kent Hovind break any laws, and you morons calling me a tax protester are stupid. Okay? It's real stupid.
Kent Hovind is a tax protester. Kent Hovind and Abel's child. Yeah, I'm not gonna finish that. But you know where the song goes. Yeah.
Shut up.
Kent did not like my song. Oh, I love when little moments like that happen. Is that synchronicity? Is that it? Because I feel like that's the word to describe that. Or was that just the title of a movie? I don't even know anymore. Ooh, I'm gonna say a word that's gonna make everyone involved in business cringe. Synergy. A shockwave of cringe is emanating through the digital cyberspace as I say that, as opposed to the non-digital cyberspace. Sorry, I'm having an ADD moment here. Let's continue.
Paul said, you willing to go to Jerusalem and appear before me? He said, I appeal to Caesar. I want to go to Supreme Court in the Roman Empire. Okay? I've done nothing wrong, as thou knowest. Matthew 25. The chief priests, elders, and all the council sought false witness against Jesus.
And here's Kent comparing himself to Jesus.
I think the Bible talks about false witness, doesn't it? In the Ten Commandments. When the morning came, the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. How are we going to find a crime on this man? They sought for witness against Jesus. As for you, you thought evil against me, but God meant it for good. Are they ministers of Christ? I speak as a fool. I am more. In labors more abundant, in stripes above measure, in prisons more frequent, in deaths oft. Apparently, Apostle Paul, 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was stoned. They've always gone after godly people.
See, that laugh pops up again. What the fuck, Kent? This shit's weird, dude.
This is standard. Okay, hate Christians 101. In Acts 28, Paul came to the church in Rome. He said, when they examined me, they wouldn't let me go. There was no cause of death in me. But the Jews spoke against it. Don't let him go. I constrained to appeal unto Caesar. So he asked the people in Rome, he said, what do you know about my case? They said, all we know is everywhere it is spoken against. Google Kent Hovind and see how many internet spots there are against me and calling me a tax protester. Bible says we know all things work together for good to them that love God. And it's worked
Bible also says, good old render unto Caesar's what is Caesar.
together for good. Somebody gave us 140 acres. Here I was trying to buy up part of Pensacola to build this camp. This is 50 times bigger. So I'm going to send this letter to all these people that I mentioned at the beginning. I'm writing to offer my help in any project
You know, at least me and Elon Musk will agree with something when this is done. If Elon ever sees anything of this, he's going to be like, this guy's fucking nuts.
you have. I want to help you conservative take back our conservative government, okay? If we can help. I want to ask your help to investigate and overturn my case. I will help you get the public school system straightened out if you want me to. I taught high school science and math 15 years, have a PhD in education from a Christian school.
You don't know shit. You can't teach shit. You are fundamentally pathetic as anything even remotely close to an educator. You fucking suck at teaching, Kent. That is objectively true. I've seen enough of your stuff recently where you try to teach to realize, yeah, you do not know how to teach. That's one of the great things about having consumed as much of your content as I have, which is a fraction of what other people have. But I've been able to piece together your complete lack of teaching ability. I'm a better teacher than you, and I have no training in the matter. That should say everything that needs to be said.
I know what the problem is. I know how to fix it. Call me. I'll be glad to help. Been a Baptist preacher 50 years, taught math and science 15 years, done 381 debates against atheists at universities. Most famous one is when I did Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. One smart aleck atheist said, "Where did God come from?" My 2-minute answer's got 900 million views.
Yeah, on channels that aren't yours. Also, your answer sucked. I looked at it. It's not a very good answer, Kent. Your God's stupid and so are you. Got him.
If you want to see why they don't like me, just Congressman, please watch that. President Trump, just watch that too.
People don't like you because you're a fucking dumbass. Because you're a horrible person. It actually has fuck all to do with your religious beliefs, which are stupid. But if it was just personal religious belief, that'd be irrelevant. But you're a horrible fucking person, and you behave the way you do with regards to reality and science. We don't hate you, though. Just think you're fucking garbage. You're a lolcow, Kent. That's all you are. It's all you ever actually will be, and that'll be your legacy of being a straight up fucking joke. And then slowly you'll be forgotten. Hopefully, eventually, to never be remembered by anybody. You know, I believe that a person only truly dies when the last person alive that is alive to think about them thinks about them. That moment where they're finally forgotten forever is the moment they truly die. You know, in a symbolic way. So sadly, some people who get brought up in history constantly will never truly die because we will never and can never forget them for the worst of it, but also plenty of people for the good of it. But Kent, you will eventually be forgotten. That'll be wonderful. Too bad. I'll be way in the future. But it's nice knowing that eventually no one's going to give a damn about you. Hopefully, we'll have been able to keep the world going for that little bit longer for generations to have that opportunity, rather than have everything get completely destroyed like you guys seem to want. Because you don't care about anything except yourselves here in the now. You want to talk about atheists and non-religious people and stuff being hedonistic? The ultimate hedonists are American conservatives. All they care about is what they can get in the moment. Sickening filth.
Minutes, okay? Our ministry, now in Lenox, Alabama. We've produced over 30 million DVDs and started off videotapes in the old days. They're in 42 languages. We allow people to copy them and spread them all they want. Please do, okay? Pedophile U.S. Attorney Atchison and Christian-hating Judge Rogers had the name and spent 5 years looking for the crime. That's backwards to real justice. They raided our church ministry at 7 a.m. with a SWAT team, arrested me. I was preparing for a sermon and dragged my 5-foot-tall wife out of bed in her nightgown. Took her to the federal courthouse.
Oh, here we go. He's going to try to cry again.
In her nightgown. Refused to let her get dressed. Didn't you?
Lies. All straight lies.
Scott Schneider and John David Roy Atchison. I bet you enjoy that, don't you, you pedophile? While the SWAT team and the IRS were there.
Yes, ignoring the people you've invited to DAL repeatedly. The situations you've enabled. The situations I'm pretty sure you're probably guilty of yourself. But, you know, I'm not saying that anything did or didn't happen. I'm not even making an allegation. It's just something I feel. I could be wrong about that, just like I could be wrong about a lot of things. But it's something I feel. And, this isn't Minority Report, and thought crimes aren't totally a thing yet. So, you know, I'm just saying. It wouldn't surprise me.
They searched the ministry to get every DVD number 5 they could find. Agent Scott M. Schneider made my wife open the safe, found 42,000 or more, and made up a tax bill on the
Yes, you've said it already, you dumbass.
spot for the exact amount and seized all the cash. Judge dismissed 2 juries, would not find us guilty, and called a 3rd jury. Anyway, you can read I'll send this letter to all of you. Here's what I want you to do. Have the proper authority look into my case, since there was no statute of limitations on fraud. And I want President Trump to de-weaponize the Justice Department. I want you to expose the evil done to me and our Christian ministry for everybody to see. I want you to impeach or jail the judge and others involved if need be.
Kent demonstrating that he doesn't actually know what an impeachment is, because he writes this in a way as if impeach is a particular special process of its own that isn't the filing of charges against someone, which would be required to jail them. So it's press charges with the intent to fine or jail or jail. It's like it just, the verbiage is just ugh.
I want you to overturn the case and restore my integrity and reputation, or at the least give me a presidential pardon.
Ooh, there he goes. He is asking for a pardon in this case. He wants the whole thing overturned, but he would at least want a pardon, which again, Kent, would be an acknowledgement of guilt. You have to be very careful on that. Because if you're pardoned for it, that doesn't mean we have to not give a shit. You guys are still going to be rambling on about Hunter Biden for fucking ever, when anything he did is completely irrelevant to, former President Biden's presidency to begin with. But, you want to do the guilty by association kind of thing, so whatever. But he was pardoned by his daddy, which was a serious power play by Biden. It's like, fuck it, why not? But that doesn't mean he didn't do stuff, and that doesn't mean we don't have to, we just magically have to ignore that something happened. I don't give a fuck one way or the other. I barely know what the man was convicted of, because I don't care, because it's irrelevant. But, as a comparison, because that's something recently that would have come up with the pardon thing, yeah. Sorry, more ADD moments.
I want you to return them, make them return the money they stole from our ministry.
Oh, Kent, and you say you're not about money. At this stage, wouldn't the money not matter? Isn't it just about your honor? Your reputation? No, it's obviously not. It's always about the money.
I want them to pay the damages they caused and leave me alone. I'm a 72-year-old Baptist preacher trying to serve the Lord now.
Oh, cry me a river.
For 56 years. I love my Lord, I love my country, and my calling in life. If you're not the right one to help me fix this gross injustice, please tell me who is. If you need any help on your projects or goals to bring America back, call me. I'll give you my cell phone in the letter. I'm not going to give it out publicly here. You can call me, though, 855-BIG-DINO. I'm extension 3. I'll pick up that same phone that way. Thank you so much. Okay. Help me out. I would like all of you, if you love justice, you love our country, you want
To begin, you should understand that I am a massive Twilight Zone fan. If memory serves, He's Alive is either the first or the third episode of season 4, which is where these Twilight Zone episodes went to be an hour long, because the show had been canceled and then got brought back, but had to fill in a time slot for an hour-long program that was canceled, and so they did the hour-long episodes. Additionally, season 2 contains episodes that were filmed on magnetic tape as opposed to film, because it was cheaper, and they look terrible. They also had to be shot completely differently, which ruined a lot of the presentation of the show. Also, my favorite episode of Twilight Zone, since we're on Twilight Zone now, is Night Call, where the old woman is getting calls in the middle randomly during a storm, or after a storm, and it turns out I'm not going to spoil it. Not going to spoil it. Forgot it's Twilight Zone. You can't spoil it. Not everyone's seen the majesty that is Twilight Zone. But yeah, I fucking love Twilight Zone. Like, I truly do. I mean, there's episodes I don't much enjoy. But, oh man, I just wish more of it existed in its original form. Such is life, though.
Want to get it back? Copy this video, post it on your channel, post it everywhere you want. And then
Oh, yes, and I totally forgot to actually address the whole thing of he's alive regarding the Austrian painter. Yeah, that rings just as true now as it did in the very early 60s and those movements coming back only 15 years after everything had gone very, very wrong in the world. It's terrifying how quickly the world had already forgotten. And now, all these years later.
you write to these guys at the front here. Let's see. You write to them and say, let's see, 22. Write to any of these people. Let's see. Oh, tax protester. A letter going to, let's see, who am I sending this to? Mrs. Trump, Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, Alabama. You send it to your representative from your state or your congressman, okay? Or your senators.
So, Tyler, the thing that I actually have an explanation for how this stuff will be titled, like comments on comments and like. Restream saves the video, the stream project effectively. And what happens is a lot of times they'll just click go live and roll with it. They don't change anything. So that's why you find some oddly titled and oddly set up streams through Kent's projects. So yeah, it's actually explainable due to just pure incompetence, not just outright, stupidity. And Sanjay, this was not streamed onto the YouTube channel that has been streaming his content since the ban. Possibly they disconnected it from Restream. Possibly it has received a strike due to the unspeakable comment he made during the Sir Sick Whackin' Atheist. This was put on the the Rumble channel and the other platforms they stream to, and this was actually a re-upload by that trucker Billy or that nerdy Billy to as an archival thing, just for the sheer convenience of us having it in case Rumble and stuff go down.
Charlie Kirk, Joe Rogan, I'd like to be on his show. Ben Shapiro, Elon Musk, John Fetterman. Anybody who loves the Lord and loves justice ought to get a copy of this.
Elon Musk is, I'm pretty sure, as atheist as me, buddy. This idea that everyone on the right wing of politics is going to be religious, while that is a common trend, it's not an explicit one.
Thank you so much.
Let alone are any of them even going to necessarily agree with your particular religious perspective.
See you Sunday morning. Bye.
Yeah, go to hell, Kent. And there we go. We did it. It's done. It is done. Oh, man. So what did everybody think? Gotta, wait a little while for the comments to come in. It was like Restream's delayed by like 30 seconds. But yeah, we made it. That was something. That was definitely something. Sorry, having my usual mid-afternoon yawn fest. Yeah, Kent is completely obsessed with himself, completely full of himself, seriously thinking anyone's going to take that seriously. They won't. They have more important things to do. They may not be, much value to the world, but these people do have more important things to do than give a damn about him. And it just shows how absolutely delusional Kent is. Just that simple. The man is so divorced from reality. I just don't have other words. Yeah, deporting Kent would be great, but what country's going to take him? That's the thing. What nation should we punish with Kent Hovind? I think that'd be a crime against humanity sending him anywhere else. Like to see Kent go on Rogan's podcast. Yeah, I don't give a flying fuck about Joe Rogan, but it would be interesting to see those two have a discussion. Kent is definitely not a narcissist. Kent compares himself to Jesus. Yep, that's totally normal. Totally normal. We need to write Trump and tell him the truth about Hovind. They won't pay attention to us either. I mean, you can definitely go for it, Claude. I'm not going to stop you. That might actually be funny to do just on principle. Ooh, send him to Denmark. Ooh, that's mean. That is so very, very mean. Vatican is a good place for him. No, no, no. Don't send him to Israel. Israel don't need that. I don't need Hovind. Wrestling with bishops of the Vatican. Oh, man. Agent Kent, the second most important Christian ever? No, he's the first most important. Then Jesus, then Joseph Smith, and then Arthur C. No, not Arthur C. Clarke. Lewis Carroll. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. I'm just saying shit. I'm just saying shit just to be saying it. I've already sent him to Denmark. Oh hell. All right. Well, I guess that is the end of the stream. In case you haven't tossed a like on the video, definitely do that. Show it some love. If you're not subscribed, well, you wouldn't be commenting. I got it. Should be on subscriber mode only, so everyone commenting I know is subscribed. But yeah, definitely give me the likes, give me the interactions. Much love. Helps with the algorithm and all the YouTube stuff. If you can support in additional ways or want to see other work of mine, links are down in the description. Final Zone BBS. If you like old computer stuff, freaking bulletin board system, sign in. Party like it's 1985. You got an image board, secret bonus point. Think 4chan without all the insanity. Got my blog. There's, of course, Patreon, channel memberships. Channel members get videos early. And yeah, that is pretty much that. I never know how to end these things. So, as always, much love, everyone. If you're in the Discord, I'll be hanging out there. Probably playing some Guild Wars, then going to sleep. Probably eating some dinner as well. 6:03, so a little late to start with the to coddle the Sunless, but that's fine. That